It's Friday, February 1st, Saturday, February 2nd, if you're on the East Coast or across the pond. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. Good to have all of you with us. If you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, go shopping right now at our Spaced Out Radio store, read up on the SOR Newswire put together by Captain Shirk, and so much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel Ensuho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Head to our website, click on the Ensuho banner, and subscribe to the channel today. The first Friday of the month, our resident ET expert, Keith Andrews, joins us to talk about all things extraterrestrial with the ET connection. A lifelong experiencer, Keith helps counsel others with their experiences to teach what they're all about and what their meaning is. So tonight, Keith will take your questions if you're in one of the chat rooms or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. So please make sure to put all of your questions in capital letters. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, from Paranoia Magazine, Olaf Phillips will be back with the SOR Newswire. My good friend, Keith Andrews, good to have you back on the show, my friend. How are you?
Oh, quite good, thanks. Nice to be back.
Yeah, sorry, we're all glad. Oh, don't apologize. Don't apologize. Now, just to fill everybody in case you don't know, just after Christmas, Keith suffered a stroke, and he has been in rehab ever since. That's why he wasn't here on the January show. But we're glad, Keith, that you're feeling better. We had a lot of people sending thoughts and prayers your way to help you out, and we're so thankful that you are still here with us, but more thankful for your 2 sons who still have their dad around, because I know what kind of a proud father you are.
I don't know if I could be prouder of the 2 of them. They really jumped up. But thanks so much to everybody with the well wishes. I really appreciated it.
How you feeling, by the way? Can you give us an update?
Well, everything's working pretty reasonably, except my left arm is still out of commission. You know, but so I'm back up and walking up. I'm back to work for 2 weeks now.
Well, that's good. That's good. And otherwise, there's no horrible side effects or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware of yet. I mean, I do know of a couple of things the doctors haven't told me. But I'll deal with that side of it. Like, I know I've got a plug in my heart, a clog in my upper left artery. And they did decide to diagnose me with type 2 diabetes.
Oh, nice.
But
why not add something else a little bit more?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what? The main thing is, my friend, you are alive, you are well, you are with us once again, and it's very nice to have you back on the show. And, you know, we were all pulling for you and making sure. And, you know, I didn't know back on the 4th, when I had Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal filling in for you, I didn't know if you wanted me to announce it to everybody, but I just felt, knowing our listeners and our crowd, especially those in the chat rooms and on Twitter who take part every time you're on the show, I knew they would want to know, and I hope you don't mind me having a little bit of a big mouth for that.
No, rest assured, I have no problem with that, because I know you would have been bombarded with, well, why isn't he here? And I'm much happier with the truth being told than people trying to make something up and figure it out.
Absolutely. You know, so I'm just very glad that you're back. Keith, we really never really schedule what we're talking about, because every time we do schedule what we're talking about, it always goes and we flush that topic down the toilet, because we never seem to get to it because of the audience participation and the audience questions here. But for people who are tuning into you for the first time, because our audience is always changing, it's always growing, let's learn a little bit about you. You're a lifelong ET contactee, literally since in the womb, and ever since then, you've lived a life that is normal to you, but quite abnormal to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. And I absolutely do not recommend it for anybody. I started off with a very different way of looking at the world. And, I have gone through everything from abductions, both the positive and the negative. And, many people, a lot of people worry, are the aliens here to take over? The answer is definitively no. But I can categorically say that it was directly because of one race in particular. As I came to know them, the Strazazian, which are a 7.5 to 8.5 foot reptile, or at least reptile-appearing race, that literally saved my life when I was a kid. I've been asked a lot of times if I prefer aliens over humans, and the answer is no. I just prefer people that are honest. But my life, quite simply put, looks more like science fiction than it does reality. The first positive memory I had on this planet was literally of an Earthrise, which means I was on the deck of a starship looking back at Earth from the far side of the moon.
What's that like?
It's a sight that you just... I know you're up north, so I'm sure you've seen the Aurora Borealis.
Yes.
Okay. Picture that and magnify that about tenfold. It is a sight that will, I don't know if haunt you for the rest of your life is actually the right way to put it. But it's certainly a sight you'll never forget.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. We also want to remind people who are just coming in, because the chat rooms are starting to fill up. If you just tuned in, and if Keith sounds a little bit different, he had a stroke back just after Christmas. He is having a few side effects from that stroke. So if it sounds like he's lisping or slurring his words, that's because of the stroke. No, he is not drinking or on anything. Let's just cut through the rumors right off the bat. This is a serious health issue that he is dealing with and working on right now. So, Keith, I just want to clarify that for our listeners who are just coming into the chat rooms, and if they're like, "Hey, how come he sounds different?" So I hope you don't mind. No. I'll be doing that quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, and feel free. The more they understand about it, because the alien side of things aside, for those that are not aware, a stroke is debatably one of the hardest things to go through in your life. Simply because it's not just a quick little fix.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the main thing, is that everybody knows out there. Now, Keith, with your situation and your experiences, when you've gone through health problems like that, what has contact been for you when you go through a health issue? Because you've had some heart issues in the past. You've now had the stroke, and that's now affected you. Through childhood, you had some health problems as well. What happens to you when you go through this with ET contact?
Well, it doesn't slow down a lot, but they do take it into consideration. No, they're not about to step in and just categorically cure it. Even with me, there are limits to what they'll do. The reality is that my healing rate, never mind what they can do, my healing rate is so far off the normal human charts that they don't want to play around with it too much because they don't want to damage it in the process.
Right. Right. No, I understand that. And, also for people, fatigue-wise, how is that affecting you with what's happened? Because, I can already tell that your sentences are a little bit shorter than what we're used to. Are you out of breath? And if it's too much, make sure you let me know, okay?
No, I'm just not entirely certain how far into it you want me to go as far as that side of it goes.
Just run with it like you always do, my friend. Just run with it like you always do.
Okay, Doug. But yeah, there's a lot of people that have asked me why the off-worlders don't step in and repair me. Well, it's because of the fact that if they were to do that, first of all, then you'd have the other question, well, if they're going to repair you, why not everybody else? And the reality is that people have to learn how to do it themselves. Whether that means, and I recommend very strongly, not to underestimate the medical profession. Now, don't get me wrong. The reality of it is I'm not overly impressed with the one on this planet. But that's because they seem to operate a little backwards from my end. But then I've also had the same problem with some of the off-world technologies. So does it slow down any? Not really, no. Of course, we have to understand, when I get taken out of here, I don't have that problem with gravity being a pain in the neck. Because on the ships, they don't have the same gravity problem. So where my leg doesn't necessarily work right, I don't have to worry about it. As far as being able to understand what they're doing or still working in the same capacity that I have, that hasn't slowed down at all.
Right. When's the last time you were taken?
2 days ago.
And what happened there?
Well, they're very concerned or very interested, I think is a better way of putting it, with all the changes that are taking place down here, especially in the political field, because it's affecting the entire global economic situation. And there is an interesting debate taking place on their end, because there's many of them that are pushing the idea of, well, if we go down there and just let them know they're not alone, maybe they'll get their act together. And then it goes back into their primary guideline, if you will. The issue of non-interference of the race itself.
Correct. Couple questions to start off right off the bat here, and I want to remind our audience, if you have a question for Keith in one of our chat rooms or on Twitter, just do me a favor, type your question in capital letters, and I will get to it as quickly as I possibly can. And so we're going to start off in the Spreaker chat room, and we have, for the first question, is Catalina, who is asking, Keith, when you went through your stroke, did you have an out-of-body experience?
Quite frankly, it's more to the point that I stay in my body. It wasn't working, so I just wasn't that interested in staying put. See, from my end, because I know how to get out of it, the body wasn't working right, so I spent an awful lot of time out and about trying to correct the damage in the first place, which is, in all fairness, half the reason why I healed at the speed I did. Because I was only bedridden for 2 days. On the second day, much to the surprise of the doctors, I got up and walked out of the bed. Now, granted, I couldn't walk very far without a walker, but it only took me 3 days to get my voice box working. So they actually let me go on New Year's Eve, so I could spend New Year's Eve at home with my boys. But I'll tell you,
that's good.
I did find there's a staggering number of people wandering around that hospital that don't have bodies.
I bet. I mean, being in a hospital, somebody with your talents of intuition must have been seeing ghosts left, right, and center.
Oh, yeah. And especially where I was. It's amazing how many of them wander around totally lost to what's going on. I can't exactly blame them, mind you. But yeah, it gets, it almost gets crowded in the hallways there. Because many times, what people don't usually realize, like I actually had 3 strokes back to back, which most of the time actually kills people.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So when you were going through that, tell us about some of the ghosts that you saw roaming the hallways of the hospital.
Well, there was one chap there that was, and I could understand why he died. By the look of him, he was the size of 2 people originally. But he was very confused as to why he couldn't open doors. So I took a couple of minutes and showed him how he could walk through them instead. But he was not planning on going.
Was he a newbie on the other side?
Oh, very. I watched him get out of his bed.
Oh, nice.
For me, it was. For him, rather more than a little disconcerting.
Okay, so take us through that.
The doctors take it almost personally when they lose a patient.
So what did you say to this spirit who had just left his body and you're sitting there having a chat with him?
Well, I'm paraphrasing, but I let him. The first thing I did was help him calm down, because it's a real disconcerting feeling to find out all of a sudden the laws of the physical world no longer matter. So once I got him to do that, I literally had to grab his hand and lead him through the wall so he could maneuver. Wow. And that'll say that's a really entertaining path for the newcomers. Of course, he was trying to figure out how to get back, and I'm like, your body ain't going to take it. It's already a done deal. Like I told him, I said, you're already out. And the body's already closed up. It's ready to go.
It's been toe tagged. You're done. See you.
I'm a firm believer that toe tagging does not necessarily mean you're done. Of course, I was toe tagged. Not this time. When I was 5, I was toe tagged. They shipped me to the morgue. I didn't agree with their diagnosis.
So when you are going through the hospital and you're lying in the hospital, wondering what the hell's happening with you, and you're seeing all of these spirits, were they recognizing that you could see them?
Oh yeah, which confused the heck out of them.
Really?
Yeah, especially when they'd ask you if I was dead too, and I'd look at them and go, no, not going there. I'm just not happy with the body I've got.
Yeah.
The body isn't working right, so I'm just not waiting for it. It's kind of like if you've got a car and all of a sudden the wheel goes on it. You go, I'm going to take it to the shop and let them put it back together.
All right. Snarkette has a comment for you or a question for you. She says, being a stroke victim herself, I know that strokes happen in the brain. How does an outer body experience work when your brain isn't cognitive?
Because the out-of-body experience doesn't require cognition. It actually, when the brain gets shut down, it's easier to get out of your body because you don't have the barriers that the body automatically builds. So basically, all of the safeguards that stop you from getting out by accident are gone.
Right.
It's one way of dropping the barriers, but it's a bad way.
You're always someone who has dealt with deceased people, but you've always preferred to deal with more of the extraterrestrial content because that's kind of what you're more used to in regards to it. So my question is, what is it like all of a sudden to have to switch gears and deal with those who are recently departed or been hanging around a hospital for potentially decades, because the Kelowna General Hospital, I believe, is still pretty old. Yeah,
it is. In all fairness, just one minor correction. It's not that I prefer dealing with the off-worlders. It's something that, and especially with your audience, they're a lot more, if you will, confused as to how to cope with. And they are something that happens in the physical world, not so much in the spiritual one, which many people can ignore.
Right.
But because I don't go a day where I'm not dealing with somebody that's passed away. I mean, it's like Grand Central Station in my house.
I can see that. I can totally see that.
But how you deal with it is just like if you're used to being on your own and you end up in a mall where there's a whole pile of people. It's the same thing. You still talk to them, you still treat them decent, and you'll get some surprising responses from people.
Do you enjoy it, though? Do you enjoy that side of the communication?
I'm not entirely certain, and don't take this the wrong way, but I'm not entirely certain of the definition of enjoyment. But I certainly don't have a problem with it. To me, talking to a ghost, an alien, or a human is all the same.
Right. Right. But for a lot of people, they don't understand that, Keith.
Oh, no, very definitely not. The thing people don't realize is a ghost is, it's kind of like the difference between a driver and a pedestrian. You know, a driver, you can take your vehicle certain places. If you get out of your car, you're still the same operator, and you can now go more places. Well, when you're no longer in your physical body, the doors are even wider open for places you can get to.
I see that. I can understand that. Gail has a comment here. She says, Keith, you are sounding so wonderful. You are a real soldier.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Once again, we are talking with R. Keith Andrews tonight on Spaced Out Radio. The ET Connection happens the first Friday of every month. We only got about a minute and a half here, or about a minute or so before we need to go to break here. Keith, in regards to, we'll continue with the hospital and the paranormal talk right now. In regards to the people that you were seeing, were you just seeing patients? Were you seeing former doctors, former nurses, maybe janitors? Who were you seeing in the hospital spiritually?
Oh, quite frankly, yes. There's a lot of doctors that once, especially the senior doctors that spent their career essentially in the hospital, they keep coming back to try and point out it's really frustrating for them, especially for the really talented ones. They're trying to get the new doctors to look at the old ways because they're very unhappy. The old doctors are very disappointed with a lot of the modern technology. In their eyes, it's taken away a lot of the instinct.
Well, that's an intriguing conversation that we're going to have to get to over on the other side. Coming up next with R. Keith Andrews on the ET Connection, we are going to get into your questions, so make sure you put them in capital letters. Anything you want to talk about with extraterrestrials, paranormal, hey, get on it. This show is all about you. If you're listening at home or wherever you may be, and you can make it over to one of our chat rooms on Facebook, on Spreaker, Revolution Radio, or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. Put your questions in capital letters. We'll be back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night. Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
We're into the second half hour now of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Broadcasting from the Captain's Chair of SOR headquarters, our Keith Andrews is back with the ET Connection. It happens the first Friday of every month. Keith will be back on Friday, March 1st. God, already in February. Can you believe that? Where did January go, Keith? Where did January go?
I spent most of it sleeping.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that. I don't blame you at all for that. But, you know, there's a lot going on in the ET world, a lot happening with everything that's going on. We have politicians down in the States, or retired politicians, calling for more research into extraterrestrial phenomena and UFO phenomenon. Everything just seems to be moving forward in regards to that connection. That being said, Keith, there are a lot of researchers out there, from Butch Witkowski to other ufologists, Grant Cameron has said this as well, that there are a lot of new recorded sightings. People are seeing a lot more. In regards to Butch, he was saying that their research is up 25% from last year already. What do you think is causing that?
Well, in all fairness, it's because of the shift that's happening in the global community. I mentioned this late last year, that this is an extremely exciting time for them from a socioeconomic standpoint. The way that the world is changing right now, and the impact it's having on the individuals, is just absolutely incredible.
Why is that?
Well, it's not often that you get to witness in real time a society going through going through a shift like this one is. Okay, with the amount of conflict going on in a number of different countries,
yeah,
and the international conflicts, as in arguments that are taking place, it is putting society at that break point where it's either going to work its way through and move into a phenomenal future, or it's going to tear itself right in half. And past record, according to the Offworlders, shows that more often than not, when it hits this kind of break point, it tears itself apart. Okay, but mankind, especially in various countries, is eliminating certain problems. Yes, they're creating others, but they are managing to bring society into a balance point. So the odds are looking good at actually getting through this and landing on mankind's feet. From the Offworlder standpoint, it's extremely exciting. You know, the best way to look at it is when you're looking at endocrinologists, when you're looking at humans that are studying scientific breakthroughs, they sit there waiting forever until something happens, and then it's like, oh, you got to watch this. And they get really excited. Well, the Offworlders have the same thing going on.
Now, when they are coming in, Keith, who exactly are we talking about here? I mean, there are so many people who, when we think about this, we think about the Greys, we think about the Pleiadians, we think about a lot of these different species that are coming in. As we move a little bit closer to disclosure, and for the first time in a long time, people are talking about UFOs and the potential that we have been visited from other life forms on this planet. When we look at it, who do we think, or who do we know is actually coming here?
Well, the ones that we are absolutely certain that a lot of people are absolutely certain of, obviously the Greys and the Pleiadians stand out. There are a number of reptilians that people have regularly spotted. The ones that are intriguing that virtually nobody gets to see are the Vulcans. And no, we are not talking about the pointy-eared people. Vulcans are actually a crystalline race. See, there's another planet just inside the sun's photosphere that is literally the home of the Vulcans. Okay, it's actually called Vulcan. And they're very interested in how things are going to evolve here, because they use the Earth as a nesting point.
Right.
So it's kind of important for them as to whether their homeland, whether their nesting grounds are still safe.
Right. This leads to Jade's question in the SOR Space Travelers. Are there any new groups of ETs coming in? And I want to elaborate on that for a moment, if you don't mind, because let's face it, when you got the big beacon shining up saying, hey, ETs, come over here, obviously we do not have a clue at how many different races, how many different beings there are in an infinite solar system or an infinite universe, pardon me. And we only know of a very few, that have potentially, according to witnesses, if they are right, we'll say it allegedly, have actually made it here. With that, and with the fact that we are getting into more open exploration of UFOs and extraterrestrials, does that open us up even more for other species, whether they are benevolent or malevolent, to come on in here?
Well, the answer is yes, but to be clear, you don't really have to worry about the malevolent side of it. I mean, people are going to anyway. But because of the consortium and the way that they work, okay, they've got pretty solid grip on what's going on in the space around Earth. Stopping that side of it. So, for those that are, of course, the added question is, are we in danger of anything trying to invade Earth? There will always be those fears of people, in all likelihood, but the answer is no. No more so than before. But that said, I did notice something the other day. I caught wind of the first one in probably 2 or 3 years. Somewhere down, I think it was in Colorado, somebody reported a new cattle mutilation. And you can bet there's going to be more of that going on with the new races coming in, because they're only just getting started.
So do we know who the new races are that are coming in right now?
Well, I do know there is one race that's actually been in the area for a while, but is now sojourning down to the planet, and that's the vegans. And the vegans are not like human vegans. These guys they're insectoid based. But the biggest problem with them is they have absolutely no sense of pain. You can literally remove their arm and aside from they won't be able to pick anything up with it, they won't feel it. So
that doesn't sound very fun.
Well, it really eliminates the issue, whereas the Greys will work with anesthetics to try and make the discomfort of an examination easier for mankind. The vegans have no concept of what pain is, so therefore there's no medical at all from their end to work as a painkiller, because they have no idea what it is. Okay, it falls sort of under the idea of trying to explain to a blind man what the color blue is. Okay, these guys have no concept of pain, and you can bet that if we end up with people being taken by them, that they're not going to have the most enjoyable interaction. It's not that they're a violent race, but let's face it, if you're trying to take skin samples and fluid samples, if you've got no idea what pain is, you're not going to be as gentle as would be nice.
True that. True that. And do you think that this is a race that just doesn't know their own strength? Do you think this is a race that would come here to try and maybe take over this planet or take over mankind?
Not in the least.
Okay.
They're aggressive if you attack them, but they've got no interest in taking over the planet. And they do, because of their military background, they do have the ability to take the planet over in a matter of minutes.
Right.
They're just not interested. And as for knowing their own strength, it's not so much they know their own strength, as they have discovered the hard way, and they were warned about it ahead of time, that human skin is a lot less resilient than theirs. Of course, they happen to have grown a carapace.
Right. Right. R. Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. His first show back since suffering a stroke back just after Christmas. So he is working through a little bit of health problems, but thank goodness you're sounding nice and clear tonight, Keith. Really appreciate it, because we do the ET Connection the first Friday of every month. Keith, in regards to these new species that might be coming into play here, do we, or does anybody out there, whether they're governmental or maybe off-world, kind of know who is coming and when? Like, is there some sort of logbook or category on figuring this out, or do they just show up unannounced?
Well, from mankind's standpoint, they sort of show up unannounced. From the consortium standpoint, they know when they get into the sector. Okay, the more surprising thing is that the ancient races are starting to resurface. The ancient races, just for the new listeners that haven't heard the term before, are the races that evolved here on Earth. They aren't from off-world.
Right. Right. Do we know where they're from?
The ancient races?
Well, any of these new races that are just finding us on the universal map.
Well, the Vegans come, and the easiest way I can put it is they come from 2 wormholes away.
Right.
Okay. And there's a very big difference between wormhole running and black hole running. Black holes are almost impossible to get through. Wormholes are just a nice, easy way to jump.
Right. Right. So when we're looking at this, and we're going to get to another question here, this one from Uncle Dale, why do we seem to see these certain groups, who will all of a sudden, get through that consortium and get a little nasty, either with people or with things like cattle mutilations?
Well, the cattle mutilations, even with the consortium, they don't see those as being they're not crossing boundaries. Like the races doing it are not crossing boundaries, because with the cattle mutilations, the cattle by consortium definition are not a sentient race. So what they're doing is the people come in, do the mutilation to get a handle on just exactly how that goes. Okay, just exactly how Terran physiology works. Okay. But it's not looked down on. They would frown on it a lot more if it was human mutilations they were starting to work on.
Right. But why go after animals? Because we even had Butch Witkowski talk about this the other night on Monday, where, there was a couple more of these hideous things done to animals recently, one in the United Kingdom and I believe one in the United States.
Yeah, it was the one in the States that I heard about.
Right. Right. So how do we work that? Like, why do that? Why allow that to happen? Is it for their own scientific study, or is it for,
Yes.
Is it for, so it's not for anything malevolent?
No, not at all. It is simply, okay, we just got into the Sol sector. Now, let's go to Sol 4. and take a look at the planet and at the plant life and the animal life that has evolved there. They have been given strict orders not to interfere with mankind's society, because mankind is designated as the watcher of the planet.
Right.
Okay, but the cattle are fair game as long as you don't go carrying away.
Right. All right, let's get to a question from Joe, who says, welcome back, Keith. Question.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Does the consortium realize that humans don't like to be messed with, and do they warn the other off-worlders that if they mess with us, they might get stuck with a pointy stick or something worse?
Oh, yeah. There have been a number of discussions about that, and they have been warned, if you're going to do it, take precautions to make sure you disrupt the individual human's life as little as possible. You know, there's a lot of discussion that goes on, a lot of guidelines that are put out before a new race is permitted to even venture to the atmosphere, never mind into it. And yes, they have been told point blank that humans are a rather volatile race, but don't underestimate them. As has been shown by the fact that mankind has, even with limited technology comparatively speaking, brought down a number of the smaller UFOs.
I can see that. We've heard those reports, and it's funny because that's what former Nevada State Senator Harry Reid is saying that we need to investigate more of now, and is actually petitioning the United States Senate right now to get people on board to be investigating about UFOs more. So is it here's an interesting question in regards to that, Keith. In regards to the government wanting to look into this more and fund this more and see what it's about, and it's apparently gaining steam. Do we look at that, Keith, as they really don't know what's going on, or the fact that they do know what's going on, but they're just not open enough to admit it publicly yet?
Ultimately, it's the second one. You know, they do know what's going on. What they don't know is the kind of fire they're playing with. Okay, some of the technologies that are available that the off-worlders have, humans have a tendency of pushing buttons, as in, there's a button, let's see what it does. This is great for a laptop computer, until that laptop computer happens to handle a planet-busting weapon.
Right.
You know, humans that's one of the things that concerns the consortium, is mankind's insatiable curiosity. But that's why the new races are warned. A couple of critical factors. Number one, if you have to get out, you get out, and this may catch some people by surprise, but they are told point blank, if you're on an exploratory excursion and you have to bail, get your equipment out of there. The people are secondary.
Right.
Okay, because there's only so much information, so much change that'll happen from somebody capturing an alien. Now, on the other hand, some of the weapons could shift the balance of power. And that could cause an absolutely devastating cataclysm as far as mankind goes.
Do we see that happening, though?
No. You mean as far as mankind causing that? No, The bigger problem mankind is building is with the amount of negativity that's being generated all over the planet. You're seeing a rise in natural disasters, but that's because of the connection of the human race to the neural net. It's got nothing to do with the off-worlders.
Right. I can see that. We only got about 2 minutes here before we got to go to break. We're going to sneak in another question here. This one from Tripster, who's asking, Mr. Andrews, welcome back. Have your children gone through any of the experiences, that you have? How have you prepared them or taught them to be ready and able to accept what they will be experiencing?
Well, my eldest has definitely gone through it. He went through it a lot when he was a kid. And basically, when the topic comes up, I will talk to them. Like, they hear me, whenever they're around, they hear me talking about it to everybody anyway. And the knowledge is a lot of the way to cope with it. You know, my littlest guy has voiced some interest in traveling with me as far as going to the different events goes. And when he gets a little older, so he's not totally bored, because let's face it, you know yourself, with the conferences, there's not a lot set up for the kids.
Right.
But I do talk to them about whether or not there's a danger to them, you know, how to deal with which races they're likely to run into.
Right. Are they scared about it?
No, not really. The eldest just ignores it. He just looks at me and goes, "Okay, Dad." The youngest one, on occasion, will ask me about what it is, what they're here for. So I talk to him just like I talk to the rest of you. I mean, he's 13, but to my way of looking at it, if I can talk in a normal, what I consider normal language, I'll explain it if he asks a question, if he doesn't quite get it.
Trip, I'm going to get to your other question for R. Keith Andrews coming up. I want to let everybody know that R. Keith Andrews is back after a month-long, well, actually it's been 2 months since we had you on the show, because last month you had to miss the first Friday of the month due to suffering a stroke right after Christmas. Keith, you're doing awesome tonight. You are just doing awesome, and we're going to continue on here with our Keith Andrews. We got your questions coming up, so make sure if you're in any one of the chat rooms or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio, you put your question in capital letters. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio. Hour number 2 coming up.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using #SpacedOutRadio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Always a pleasure to be broadcasting to you live right here. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Tomorrow night and Sunday, while I am off finding my Zen and my Chi, we got the weekend show with Tessa Nicole Thomas coming on in. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We welcome back everyone listening in all over the world, wherever you may be, including Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. Good to have you with us. And of course, always, you can check out our archives for free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Opisto branchiata. Opisto branchiana is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. You can go shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store right now. We'd love to see you walking around in some of our swag. And, of course, you can read up on all the news on Captain Shirk's SOR, Newswire, and so much more. The first Friday of every month, we have our resident ET expert. Our Keith Andrews is back after taking a hiatus last month because Keith is just recovering from a stroke that he suffered just before Christmas, just after Christmas. But we're glad everything is getting happier and healthier for Mr. Keith. Welcome back to the show, bud.
Well, thank you very much for having me. A pleasure as always.
It
thanks
always
very
is a
much
pleasure.
for everybody coming back to join us.
Well, you know what? The audience loves you, so we're going to continue on here with questions. Now, right before the break, we had asked a question from Tripp, and it was a three-part question, so we're going to get to that third question right now. Keith, he is asking, what advice do you give to anyone once they realize they're on an unwanted vacation?
Well, this is the hardest one of all, but it is the best I can tell you. Do your best to relax. And realize if they were really intent on killing you, you'd already be dead long before you got to the wake-up part. You know...
That's putting it subtly.
Well, I'm not exactly known as being subtle. No, the reality is if you find yourself in a place, the best thing you can realize, the best way I found to look at it, this is assuming, of course, that you don't wake up in the middle of something terrifying to start with, aside from the trip, is that just like humans, these guys are primarily curious, especially the Greys. Greys are literally scientists.
Okay.
But you do your best to relax and look at their actions. Don't worry so much about trying to figure out what they're saying, because good luck with that. It's not Terran-based.
Correct.
Correct. At least...
I think we can understand that.
Yeah. I mean, at least if if you speak English and you run into a French person or a Russian, at least they've got the same planet to work with. The off-worlders don't even have that. Now, I've talked to some people that have ended up, when they've been taken, ended up in a room with a whole bunch of calculations written on the walls. And what people have to realize is those are not English numbers or words. So trying to figure them out can be a royal pain.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I can see where that would be a little bit trouble. But what about children? What about people who have children who are being taken? What's your advice to them?
Well, first and foremost, do not go to them and suggest that they've been taken. Okay, if they start describing something, get them to draw it. That'll be the easiest way to get them to explain what they're seeing. It may not be very good art, but if you can get them to draw it out or talk it out, as in describe exactly what they're saying and what they're seeing, it's easier for them to draw, because then you don't have the opportunity to accidentally lead them down a different road.
Right. Makes sense.
Okay. And once the trick is that once you realize that it's a high probability that you figure this may be an off-world issue, I would suggest getting in touch with somebody that you do know. And I mean, quite frankly, I'm sure if they were to send you a picture and say, hey, can you look at this and tell me if it looks, what you get off it? Okay. For instance, if a picture is shown, if the kid draws a picture that looks like it might be an alien craft that could have been seen, get it to somebody such as yourself that may be able to either recognize it or get it to somebody else who will. Because understanding is the key to helping the little guys understand what's going on.
Do children usually know what is going on, or are they put with some sort of, I'm going to use the word implant in their brain, Keith, that everything is okay, that maybe they're playing with toys or they're playing with some sort of, playing some sort of game in a dream state with some weird bugs or something along those lines?
Well, most of the time, the kids will actually automatically do that. You don't need an overlay to get them to think that. Most of the time, the kids will literally just translate that. They'll associate that dream with a cartoon.
Right.
Okay. That's because the children already have that creative disposition to make things look a little bit more real without trying to understand them.
Right, correct.
Adults are the ones that run into the real problem. And, of course, the bigger challenge for the adults, especially if you've got a kid that you think might be being taken, okay, it gets to be very frightening from a parent standpoint, because how do you protect your kid that you're supposed to protect from all problems? How do you protect it from something you can't even begin to see?
Or explain.
Yeah.
So what is your advice then for parents who may suspect that their child could be a contactee?
Well, again, the best thing to do is to get in touch with somebody that you are familiar with that works in that field to get some sort of input into what they're going through specifically on a case-by-case basis.
Right.
Makes sense. Sad to say, there's no easy answer.
All right, let's move on to Jade's question. She says, if one says to the extraterrestrials that they do not want to be taken and experimented on, do the ETs still take these people?
Most of the time, if the off-worlder actually understands the request, most of at least the common ETs that are around here, most of them will leave the individual alone. The unfortunate part with the new influx is that many of them don't understand. They don't understand that request. Because you got to remember, they're still trying to understand the language and the idioms that mankind has. So it is becoming more complicated from that end, regardless of the education that the off-worlders get before coming here.
Right. Right, makes sense. All right, let's move on to Birdman's question in the Spreaker chat room. He is asking, Keith, what would the off-worlders do if, say, nuclear war broke out? Would they try and stop it, or would they just let mankind do what they have to do to themselves?
No, they do the same thing they did the last time, and they'll shut the nukes down. We reached that point a number of years back, and the off-worlders came in and shut the nuclear reactions down on all of the missiles. So basically, if people start throwing the missiles back and forth, what you'll get is a big chunk of rock landing in the middle of the ground of a city block, as it were. That's still going to make a mess, but it won't have the radiation.
Right. Right. Now, how do you know this?
How do I? Because from my standpoint, the consortium's primary mandate is protect the planet, not the people. And a full-scale nuclear war would devastate the ecosystem on the entire planet. Okay, yes, it would absolutely critically damage the human race. But that's the human race's problem.
Makes sense. Let's get over to Perrier's question. She is asking, Keith, is there a time limit or a limit on the amount of soul population?
Well, that goes way outside the ET realm. And the answer is no. And the reason for that is because of the number of options that people have, that the souls have to inhabit a body. Understand, humans are not the only thing that have a soul.
No, I would agree with that.
You know,
I would agree with that.
The natives talk about the soul, about the souls that the plants have, and they're very accurate on it. Each individual tree, each individual rock, they all have a life. And the trick is to learn to listen to them, because they all speak.
Right.
They just don't speak English.
Right. Let's go over to Twitter. And Graham is asking, or first he makes a comment saying, "Welcome back, my friend Keith. Get well and good soon. My question is," from Graham, "have you fought against a gray abductor, and did you explain why humans have rights as we guard Earth, or try to?"
Oh, yeah. The answer to that is fighting against grays is, well, it's kind of like hitting a beanbag with a very thin skin. Yes. They don't handle physical conflict well. But trying to explain to them that humans have rights, the usual argument I get is, that is theoretical, but then they look at and they quote what the humans are doing to other races on this planet. And then they go back and quote karmic law for me. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Meaning, if humans don't want to get abducted, then quit abducting the other races.
I can see that. Who are humans? Are you talking like animals and?
Yes.
And yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
But in regards to that, I mean, we also, I guess the way I look at it, and I might be in the minority here, I don't know. But when you look at everything that's happening, and like you said, we do the same thing to plant life. We do the same thing to animal life. Take them out of their habitat, stick them in zoos.
Yeah.
So, I mean, should we really, in the end, be surprised that we ourselves are taken? Or is it the naivety, Keith, that because we are considered the superior race, if we want to put that, of species on this planet, that all of a sudden, my gosh, this can't happen to us. We're human.
Well, essentially, it's the naivety of it that humans run into the problem. Okay, because the reality behind it from the off-worlders is, especially with the grays, yes, humans don't like being abducted, but they are the best shot that we have at bringing humans up to speed to be able to become part of the consortium. Because they cannot function in the consortium without having a basic understanding of off-world interaction.
Why is that?
Well, this falls into the hybridization program. Humans don't have a cultural reference point for the way off-worlders work.
Okay.
Okay. And much as the funny part about it, I heard it put one day, where humans want the world to change, but the humans themselves, on the whole, don't want to change.
I get you.
Okay. So, this is one of the reasons why the consortium has made it very clear that you do as little to disrupt the individual as possible, which is where the overlays come in.
And what about free will?
Well, that's where we go back into that loop about, humans want to have their free will, but they're not willing to give it to the other races of the planet. See, if we were to look at some of the ways that other cultures, the off-world cultures, deal with that kind of problem, the result would not make humans happy. Okay.
I can understand that, yeah.
Because some of their methods are extremely brutal. Extremely effective, but very brutal. Okay. But, as the Greys keep putting it, at least what we're doing is not to deliberately harm them. Right. We're not trying to poison the humans. We're trying to actually utilize their information, but trying to explain to the average human what they're trying to do is almost impossible. It'd be like trying to explain calculus to a kindergartner.
Oh, I'm sure there's a couple out there who would understand it.
Oh, there absolutely are. It's just not common.
Geez, at 45 years old, I can't even understand calculus.
That's okay. Affluent teachers don't understand it.
I hear you there. Let's move on to another question. Let's go back to Trip here. He is asking, why fly light years to dissect animals when they can basically pull a Noah's Ark and not leave evidence?
You said, why abduct animals?
Dissect. Why fly light years to dissect animals when they could basically pull a Noah's Ark and not leave evidence?
Because of two factors. One, they want them in their natural habitat, not in a zoo. And anybody that studied animals understands that that has looked at the behavior of animals in a zoo as compared to in the wild, knows there's a very different behavior there. There's also a physiological alteration that happens when you take them into zero G. The other added bonus is by leaving the evidence of the animals, it gives humans the opportunity to study something beyond their ken.
Okay. Is that good for what we are doing or good for what they are doing? Is there a radical purpose for that?
Radical, no, but it is good for both parties. Because by humans taking a look at it and pushing their own limits of understanding to figure out what's going on, enables them to understand the higher technologies.
Okay.
And with mankind's curiosity level, giving them something benign to work on is so much better than waiting until they abduct another alien or capture another alien.
Oh, what's wrong with capturing aliens, buddy? If Carl comes, I'm capturing him.
I'd be hard pressed to say there's something wrong with it, given the fact that they're taking humans. Okay.
Right.
You know, I'm going to have a hard time arguing the point. You know.
Well, I should hope so.
No, I'm a firm believer that, you know, quite literally, energy out, energy in. But for mankind, like mankind has already left Earth. And it's critical that mankind gets to understand the ramifications of what he's playing around with.
Okay, so when you say what we're playing around with, what do you mean by that?
Well, for instance, every time mankind plays around with anything in nature, they make them the critical miscalculation of thinking they can do a better job than what nature did. And 90% of the time it backfires in a big way. Now, if you take a look at that, and let's go out to the Kuiper Belt, and say somebody decides they're going to, well, we're going to start mining the asteroids without really looking at the ramifications of it. You knock one out of orbit, and all of a sudden we've got this missile the size of Nevada coming our way. You know, literally by accident. If the scientists are out there doing that, don't realize that before they get underway, they could cause some rather cataclysmic complications.
All right.
This is why mankind why they do need to look at the various things going on, like the crop circles, like the mutilations. These are ways of exploring the scientific know-how of the off-worlders without causing major problems. It won't cause a major problem for the off-worlders, not on the whole. Worst case scenario is you get a human onto a ship that pushes the wrong button, and most of the time it's a minor little problem that happens. Kind of like pushing the wrong machine on the wrong button on a soda machine. Makes a bit of a mess for the immediate ship, but doesn't usually do much else.
Quick comment from the Revolution Radio chat room here, Keith, as we got under 2 minutes here.
Sure.
Maze is saying, so glad, Keith, that you're back on your feet. We really missed you last month. That's always nice. Lioness also says, hello, Dave. Love to you, Keith. And Dave as well. Hey, we got some love there. Maze is asking, though, we'll go back to Maze. Keith, could you explain more about the folks in the hospital? Were they clones, not human? What were they?
No, they were neither. And technically they weren't human because the folks that we're talking about were ghosts, spirits.
Right.
In other words, they got out of their bodies and left. Okay, but they were not clones. Fortunately, from that standpoint, we don't have to worry about that yet.
Yeah, no kidding. It's coming quick, though.
Sad to say they've already got the technology. Now they just have to figure out what they're going to do with it.
Over on Revolution Radio, Blasphemous Buddha says, Keith, don't let Dave fool you. He really is an alien Bigfoot. What the heck does that mean? Come on, Buddha. Come on.
Well, I understand what he could have called you.
Well, yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Our Keith Andrews, I'm going to get you to relax for a few minutes here because we are going to get ready to head on out here for the bottom of the hour. Our Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Keith, if you're wondering why he sounds a little bit different, well, we're going to tell you because Keith doesn't mind. He actually had a stroke right after Christmas. He is on the mend. He's a big, tough guy, and this isn't going to defeat him at all. So he's back hanging out with us, right where he is supposed to be. Our Keith Andrews, the ET Connection, happens the first Friday of every month on the Mighty SOR. Keith's next appearance, March 1st. We got a lot more time left with our Keith. Your questions coming up.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there. This is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
We've passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. As we broadcast from SOR headquarters in the Great White North, our Keith Andrews is our guest tonight, our resident ET expert who comes on here the first Friday of every month with the ET Connection. Keith, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to be back.
We got questions lining up for you, my friend. You know, there's some confusion out there, and Derek asks a question on Twitter at hashtag SpacedOutRadio. If you're at night and you see off in the distance, maybe at an elevated level, a light, how do you tell whether or not it's a UFO or a street lamp?
Well, if it's way up in the air, we can safely say it's not a street lamp. But the easiest way to tell is watch its pattern. If it's traveling in a straight, unadjusted line, the odds are you're dealing with a satellite. Okay? It's when they start doubling back on themselves or take off at an odd angle that you're not looking at a standard item. But to be clear, if you see something in the air, if you see a light in the air, and you can't identify it, by definition, it's a UFO.
Right. Perfect. We appreciate that. We needed that clarity around here. More than what you really know, Keith. More than what you really know. All right, let's move on here to audience questions. The beautiful, lovely Claudia asks, when humankind evolves, we will all join in a one mind, and we will stay in a superconscious state and have a choice to stay in body or stay in spirit only. Is this where we are heading, in your opinion, Keith?
In a manner of speaking, and what I mean by that is when humankind evolves to that level, yes, they will join in a unified mind, which is not a hive mind. But the issue of choosing whether to stay in human form or leave the corporeal form behind is not an option, because the moment you choose to leave the corporeal body, you no longer are connected to the human mind and therefore cannot participate in said link. It requires the hardware of the human mind to do it.
Right. Okay. So it's more of a spiritual Zen type thing.
In a way, yes. I mean, it was reached centuries ago. Mankind had evolved to that point. That was during the Lemurian Empire. And that was a human civilization that were totally linked mentally speaking. So if you wanted to talk to somebody on the other side of the planet, you could do it. Just by thinking. But it had its drawbacks.
Right. All right, let's move on to Carl's question. And no, we're not talking Carl the alien.
Although
Carl
that would
human.
be nice.
That would be kind of cool, actually. Carl the human says, what is the thought of humans having pets, especially if a human and a pet seem to have a conscious bonding? I would assume this is from an extraterrestrial standpoint.
Yeah. They don't have a problem.
Before you answer that, out of all the times we've had you on the air, that question has never been asked. Never been asked. Good question, Carl, the human.
Yeah, that's a new one, but it's a great one. They don't have a problem with it because there are many races that have pets. Okay, now granted, some of the races do not have, cute little fuzzy pets. But they figure they're cute enough.
Do you think so?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so do aliens have pets? Do they have some sort of like space slug that they call Chippy or whatever? Like, do they? I don't know where that came from, but do they have pets of any kind?
Some of them do, yes. Not the least of which is you take a look at the chupacabra. That is a pet. You know, the chupacabra that is running around here, one of them lost their pet.
Well, that's not nice.
Well, it's kind of like a human losing a cat or a dog. The only difference is a human loses a cat or a dog, and the dog can work its way across the continent and get home. Little hard for a chupacabra to work its way across the cosmos.
I'd like to see a chupacabra try and fly a spaceship. I mean, how would you like to be a chupacabra, though? I mean, not many animals, or whatever they are that ugly. Seriously, it's not an attractive animal.
Have you ever seen a mole really up close from the front? They're not the cutest thing either.
No, I get that, but a chupacabra, I mean, that thing's just ugly. Pure
from
ugly.
a human standpoint, it absolutely is. But I mean, when you look at the race that has them, they're not exactly the most stunning beauty on the planet.
True that. Let's go to another question here. This one comes from Joe. If an alien is killed while trying to abduct or experiment on a human, does the consortium consider that human a murderer? And are there repercussions?
Not in the least. Although they are confused. To start with, they were very confused why the humans didn't actually eat the alien. Okay. They don't see it as murder because, from their standpoint, it's a lower life form that whoever was trying to do the abduction didn't do their homework. Okay, because anybody that comes down here is warned. Humans have a tendency of doing the most bizarre things and even against all odds winning. So don't underestimate them. So if an off-worlder gets killed in an attempted abduction, it's like, well, you didn't learn your lesson very well, did you? But they're not about to punish the people involved in killing the alien.
Well, that's good. That's good. Because that could go either way. I could totally see that going either way.
Yeah, it technically could, and there are races that if they weren't governed by the consortium, one human kills. I know of one race in particular. If one human were to actually kill one of their people, regardless of the cause, they'd wipe the community out. Simply put, it's a question of you kill one of ours, we're going to wipe out one city of yours.
Well,
a little bit overkill from human standpoint, but it works for them.
Kind of. But hey, some would call us a disease that is festering, my friend. Let's move on to another Joe's question. Great picture and Spreaker, by the way, of Lemmy Kilmister. That always works for old Davey here. He is asking, what is a soul? Is it what moves us?
In a nutshell, the soul is the individual. That is the driver of the body. And this one, the scientists of Earth have actually figured out. Don't ask me how they did it, but they did figure out that when you take into consideration all the gases and fluids that are released at the time of a human's death, there is still a 2-ounce discrepancy that they cannot account for yet. That's the soul, the operating system for the human. That's also what leaves when you go astral traveling.
Interesting. Okay.
And yeah, there's a lot more to that. I didn't know how deep you wanted me to go down that rabbit hole.
Well, you can go as deep as you want, my friend. This is your show. I'm just a navigator here.
See, the soul is... This is why when people ask, do aliens have souls? The answer is definitively yes. I know of a number of people whose primary memory and primary operating way of looking at the world is based on alien life. And rest assured, that makes it miserable trying to function on this planet. But the soul is the life force that people talk about. That's why death is literally overstated. Where some people's body, people will say, oh, that person can't live through that, and yet the person makes this remarkable recovery. It's because what you're doing is repairing the vehicle, not the person.
All right, let's move on to more questions here from our audience. This one comes from Dawn. She's saying, Keith, have you ever had a memory of being abducted when the rest of the house noticed you were gone? That's a great question, too.
I've also had it where I was taken, and the other, not everybody in the house, but where an individual in the house right close by saw me come back. Okay, and that was, to say the least, startling for them. Well, it wasn't overly impressive for me either. But yes.
Why is that? I mean, I've never really heard of that, Keith.
No, quite a few years back, frankly, I had the interesting experience of them dropping me off and missing the bed. You know, and literally, the person that was there saw me show up at the roof and drop. And because of the bed, because of the way the bed was sitting, my left shoulder and my left hip caught the bed. My right shoulder, bear in mind I had a hexagonal table, and my right shoulder caught one corner, my forehead other, and my knee hit the floor hard enough to dislocate it.
Oh, wow.
And it was seen, and, you know, the same person was witness to us losing about 20 minutes of time at another point. So, have I gone through it? The answer is yes. In the end, it didn't work out all that well.
All right. Well, let's move on here because we got to catch up to some questions here. Kevin is asking, Keith, my man, do you think worldwide acknowledgement of alien visitation will occur in the next couple of years? P.S. I did a little boogie dance for you being back. I can't wait until you are able to do the same, my friend.
I couldn't do the boogie dance before, but thanks. Will mankind eventually get to that point? The answer is yes. However, it will be, quite frankly, a lot of years before mankind is comfortable with it. And even then, we're going to have the people that are going to have a problem with it. Will it happen in the next couple of years? I wouldn't hold my breath. Because understand, the second that they make themselves clearly and blatantly known, mankind is going to go into an absolute panic. Because it's one thing for mankind to look up and go, there's aliens out there. It's another to realize that, yeah, it's not just a thought. It's a reality. Now, of course, for those of us that are comfortable with said reality, it won't matter much. Although I will tell you, even if you're bracing yourself for it,
right,
it's a real trippy experience the first time you run into one.
All right, our Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on the ET Connection. We're continuing with audience questions out of our chat room tonight because that's the way we run this show. Catalina is asking, Keith, there is a new trend recently with folks choosing first contact now instead of waiting for official contact. Do visual meditation invitations to star groups, do you think this is a good idea?
Good idea. Depends on how clear your intent is. I've seen some people that literally put the thought out, I don't care who it is, I want to be picked up. Now that's a suicide run. If you're clear on the focus of what you're aiming for, it's not a bad idea because they do have telepath scanning for that kind of interaction at this point. So, yes, it is, when groups of people are doing the same thing, it does have a higher propensity of having that kind of connection.
All right, let's move on here. We got more questions from our audience lined up. Keith Shar is asking, or first a statement. She says, Keith, I missed you and was worried about you and worried that all the ET stuff caused this for you. Have you considered this?
I did. And oddly enough, did it have something to do with it? I have no doubt. That plus my own profession added together is what caused it. It was the amount of stress that I was holding inside that created the problem. Which is one the doctors are going to have a heck of a time trying to figure out. They still don't know what caused it.
Well, they never do. They never do. It's hard to find sometimes.
Well, that's why they call it practicing medicine.
Exactly. Let's get over to Claudia here. Try and get a couple more questions in before the top of the hour. Claudia is asking, are the aliens worried about our secret space program? If so, what race is watching us closely?
What race isn't would be a shorter list. But no, they're not worried about it. Mankind's best weapons won't penetrate the shields. It's just that simple. Even the railgun that they've got will only do a minimal impact, and it can't be aimed very well. Like, mankind does have a rather big railgun that can actually do damage if you could get it to hit, but it's so difficult to hit because of the speed the ships are moving. So they're not worried about it. And besides that, the other issue here is this. They look at it and go, okay, if you really want to launch an attack, then we'll just take the space station out and drop it. Okay, yeah, you might get one ship, but the result will not be pleasant. This is why I keep warning people that any sort of an actual head-on assault against them is just a suicide run.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun. Does not sound like fun at all. No.
No, because, see, mankind has one thing going against them where it comes to war that none of the off-worlders have. Mankind has this brilliant idea there are rules in war. The off-worlders have a much simpler outlook. If we win, it was done right. And they're not above the idea of overkill.
I would say that's only NATO countries who have those rules, Keith. Just saying. But that's just me. Just me. Let's continue on with the questions here as we are scrolling through. We're clear on Revolution Radio right now, so that's good. All right, moving on forward. Let's get over to Gail's question, who says, Keith, would you tell us if you had a romantic relationship with the lady alien? And would you have any pictures of her? Gail, you're bad. Bad, Gail.
I do like the way she put that, and the answer is no, but then I wouldn't tell you the same. I wouldn't answer that question regarding another human either.
Oh, you bad Gail. You know, this is what's happening right now. Gail is sitting in her recliner with her feet up, listening in, probably with her headphones and her earbuds in, and listening on her phone, and she just almost dropped her phone because she's laughing so hard at us right now. Bad Gail. Bad Gail. But, I mean, what do you say? This is a lady who is in love with Rob Zombie, and her favorite song is about doing something in a UFO. I mean, that's just the way it is. Appreciate that, Gail. Thank you.
Well, this is one thing. We never know what questions are going to come out.
Exactly. We never really know. We're actually caught up on questions for right now. This is a rarity for us, Keith. We are caught up on the audience questions right now. And I'm still kind of stunned by Gail's question. Gail is supposed to be all hoity-toity and innocent. Hoity-toity and innocent. And she drops a bombshell like that on you. Just a bombshell. I don't get it.
In all fairness, it's not the first time I've had people ask.
Well, I mean, I guess it is a legitimate question.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it could be. All right. We can sneak one more in here, and if we got to move it to the end or finish it off at the other side, we can do that too. Uncle Dale, and you never know if it's Uncle Dale or Uncle Dale's mustache who is asking this, so we're going to put it on Uncle Dale tonight. He says, Keith, how do you know about the rail guns? I strongly suspect that they are due to work, or I guess he did work on them 30 years ago on a homopolar generator, which is one way to power a rail gun.
You know, I got asked a similar question when I was in the hospital, how I knew that the genetic researchers have a nutrient bath already designed for promoting nerve cell regeneration. And the doctor that asked me that, he looked at me because I told him, I said, it's common knowledge. He says, what kind of people do you hang around with that's common knowledge? The different weapons that I know that the governments have is, the way I come across it is twofold. One, because I pick it up as I go with my own senses. Sometimes because I've seen it. Okay, and oftentimes because somebody was thinking about it. Usually that means somebody that wasn't supposed to talk about it.
Well, there you go. Keith, you hold on. And everybody out there, hold on, because we're going to take more of your questions when we come back. Our Keith Andrews is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Keith is here at the first Friday of every month with the ET Connection. His next appearance will be Friday, March 1st. Hour 3. Right around the corner. Come hang out with us. We'll be back. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. This weekend, while I am off finding my Zen and my Chi, we got Tessa Nicole Thomas in for Spaced Out Weekend, Saturday and Sunday night, 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com. We welcome back everyone listening in wherever you may be. Thank you so much for tuning us in on your Friday night, including Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Also, you can find all of our archives for free at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Opistho branchiata. Opistho branchiata is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You could rock out to Bumblefoot, go shopping right now at our Spaced Out Radio store because you would look good in one of our hoodies. And, of course, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. So, it's the first Friday of the month, which means it's time for the ET Connection with R. Keith Andrews, as Keith comes in the first Friday of every month to hang out and take all of your questions from your audience. It's an audience participation show, so you got to be in one of our chat rooms or hang out with us on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. Mr. R. Keith Andrews, how you doing?
Not bad at all. Thank you very much.
And we also... Oh, we're doing good. We're doing very good. We also want to add that for people who have heard Keith before, if you're wondering why he's kind of slurring his words, Keith had a stroke right after Christmas. He is healing from that, but he is being a trooper, put on his big boy pants today, and he's like, we're doing the show. We are doing the show. So I appreciate you being a trooper for us, Keith.
Well, there's no problem there. I don't sit still very well to start with. And let's face it, this is the first one I missed in 3 years. I'm not trying to make a run of it.
This is true. This is true. You've had a good run. You've had a good run. But, unfortunately, you had to go on the DL there for a month, but we got you back, and that's all that matters, my friend. All that matters. We're going to get back to audience questions right now, Keith, and this one comes from Catalina, who asks... Keith, do you think the recent big booms heard in 3 different states is caused by ET wars going on above us?
No, they're actually caused by the ancient races below us. And it's not so much a war. It's not so much a war going on as preparation for a potential war. That came out bad. They're just moving things into gear so if a war does break out, they can respond. The problem with the ancient races is if you think the off-worlders are a problem, you should try the ancient races. They've got ways of dealing with things that mankind hasn't got a prayer of coping with. Like I saw one schematic that they laid out, that one race in particular laid out. They can take a city and drop it out from under you. And they're really not fussy about whether there are innocent people involved. Because from their standpoint, if push were to come to shove, much as the off-worlders would pound the planet from orbit, the ancient races would just drop the cities out from underneath you. And yes, they are good enough that they can leave certain buildings alone. Adds a whole new dimension to the concept of sapping, which anybody in the military would understand that term. Basically, it boils down to digging a hole underneath a wall to make it collapse.
Interesting. Very interesting. We're going to continue on. I'm just scrolling through the chat rooms here, seeing. I think we're still caught up on questions, to be absolutely blunt with you. Oh, no, here's one. This one just popped up from Birdman. Keith, what's up with the Draconians? Why are some good and others just so horrible?
Because they're not all the same race. See, we have to cover a little bit there. The Drakes themselves, what most people think are the only Draconians, are interested in running everything, but they don't care who they're ruling over. They just want to rule over whatever's left. Now, we go back millennia, and there were two offshoots. Okay, you have the Srazazians, which are directly descended from the Drakes, because the Empire got to a certain level, and then due to circumstances, their connection got cut off. So the Srazazians ended up evolving in their own way. The second branch that took off were the Tormenon. And those are the ones that are usually in a bad mood. Because they are mercenaries from the get-go. And if anybody wants to see what a real clear picture of a Tormenon is, there's a show out called Jupiter Ascending. The reptilian they show on that is a perfect rendition of a Tormenon. But that's why some seem to be in a good mood and some not so much.
I could see that. I can totally see that. Keith, when people are being abducted, and whether they are frequent abductees, let's go with them for a minute. Are there signals that they can hear or feel or see that are going to tip them off that that's a night where they are going to have some sort of contact with ETs? For instance, Samantha Mowat, she talks about blue butterflies. She will see them. I know that when I'm getting close to being taken, I start hearing Pink Floyd's "Is There Anybody Out There?" And it just repeats in my head over and over again, and I just cannot stop it. So I'm wondering, is this normal for a lot of abductees to get those signs, or is it just something that is with people who are having some sort of frequency?
It's normal for people that are having a frequency to spot a pattern that they link into. It may have nothing to do with the abduction, but it's something that triggers to let them know, and it's usually done because of a subsonic resonance that they pick up that triggers that memory. Okay, the odds are that on somebody that has been taken on a regular basis, whatever it is that they're triggering, that they're seeing, was a prevalent issue the first time it happened. And it's a way for the human mind to find some solace in familiarity. Although, ironically enough, it more often than not causes trepidation.
All right, let's move on here. Jade is asking, Keith, what do you think of or know about the bigger $20 billion Hadron Collider that is going to be built? What's your thoughts?
Well, number one, it's necessary, but that is human technology. So is it a good idea? The answer is yes. Okay, does it have a lot of potential? Absolutely. Because the bleed off of the Hadron Collider is they might be able to get the OTE drive working. The OTE drive, by the way, that's a star drive. Okay, designed for literally interstellar transport. And the Hadron Collider is the best step they've made towards it. And of course, there is the other side of that. But yeah, all in all, it's an excellent little tool. Way above most people's understanding, including way above even the people that are building it. They don't realize how much added information they're going to be able to get out of it. Because if they track it right, and especially if they start putting the right if they start combining on top of what they're working with, the magnetic and photonic input to it, they can actually start to understand how wormholes work, which will make interstellar travel immensely easier. So it's a fabulous piece of equipment.
Right. Okay, let's move on to Everett's question here. And Everett is asking, Keith, during the recent eclipse, a meteor collided with the moon, and it was observed and photographed. How do any races on the moon prepare or deal with such impacts?
Carefully and quickly. Depending on where it hits, they either have one heck of a mess that they've got to clean up, but they've got a forewarning sign, so what they usually do, they know where it's going to hit, and if they can't stop it, then they evacuate the areas that is most likely to be affected. Fortunately, they have a phenomenal system of force fields to lessen the actual damage to their vehicles or to their buildings. Okay, but I mean, think of it this way. The off-worlders see meteoric impacts on the moon, much like humans see a tornado. Okay, so you just basically, you roll with it. Yes, it does cause loss of life, etc. And the structural damage can be, to say the least, incredible. But for them, mankind has tornado warning systems. These guys have meteoric impact warning systems. Most of the meteors, and this is one of the biggest issues why the dark side of the moon is still the dark side, because the meteors hitting on the dark side, they usually shoot out of the orbit before they get in. But the ones on the light side of the moon, they don't have to worry about too much.
All right, let's move on to more questions here. Trip is asking, during all the poking and prodding at the hospital, did you get a chance to look at the x-rays for any implants you may have?
I did. And considering the damage, I know there was one, but when I had the stroke, they are not designed to handle that kind of electrical output. There was one prior to the stroke, because I saw the remnants of it right smack in the middle of my hypothalamus. That didn't survive. See, they're designed to channel electrical current. Well, bioelectric current. They're not designed to handle that much of it. This is why, and I'm you really have to be careful, but an electric shock can disable many of the implants. Now, do understand, a static electric shock won't do it, and before some brilliant individual comes up with the idea, electrocuting yourself to eliminate an implant is a bad idea. But the damage that was done when I had the stroke, nothing was going to compensate for.
All right, let's move on to another question. Don is asking, Keith, should we look for contact? If so, how? If we have contact already, how can we help?
Well, should you look for it? That depends on the individual. The one caution with looking for it is be very clear about what type of contact you're looking for and with whom. The safest people to make contact with are, quite frankly, the Nords and the Greys. Okay, yes, they undoubtedly will do a physical on you, but at least you don't have to worry about them intentionally doing something that's really untoward. Now, how do you go about it? Basically, the more you pay attention to what's going on in the sky, the easier it is to see it. And of course, once you've seen it, your brain gives off a signal that they can pick up on that basically says, oh, we're being scanned, which is what draws their attention. I think that's the easiest way to put it. But again, be very careful. You got to make certain that you're not just going with the idea of, I want to meet an alien. I don't care which one. That's just asking for a problem.
I can see that. All right. Well, let's move on here to another question. This one comes from Joe, who says, do any of the alien races ever screw around with our weather?
No. That is the operation of the planet or mankind's tampering with it. They are strictly forbidden to play around with it. Now, will they capitalize on it? Certainly. For instance, if you've got a storm front coming in, they may well use that as cover to come in and take a closer look. But they don't cause it. Nor will they amplify it or reduce it, though. The weather that's Terra's own. And that's one of the no-touch issue. Like, they're here to protect the planet, not the people. And screwing around with Mother Nature is, much as mankind doesn't seem to get this, they know full well that can cause way more complications than leaving it run its course. Even things like a wildfire they won't touch. Because to them, it's all part of the natural order.
I see. All right, let's move on to the next question. Dawn has, she's being a little cheeky with this one, but she says, question, Keith, do any of the alien races ever screw around with our ladies? Bad Dawn.
No, fairness,
Bad Dawn.
They didn't. The answer is yes, but the counterpoint to that is no. They don't do it from a standpoint of, well, the legal term would be, quite frankly, rape. It is a long drawn-out process before they ever cross that border. And it's not every woman that gets picked up that ends up with that. It's a very select few. Okay, but yeah, the answer is that is one of the ways of developing a hybrid. It's also one of the ways of studying interactive behavior. But understand, when we start talking about that and that type, the only ones that look at that are quite literally the very humanoid-looking ones. I.e., you'd be looking at the Nords, okay, or Radio Command. Because, or the Mobians, because they are all of very compatible human configuration.
Right. All right, let's get to Uncle Dale's mustache's question. The Power Stash is asking, are the alien moon bases underground? Why don't we see their craft around the moon?
You do. Take a look at a full moon with a good set of binoculars, or better yet, a good telescope, and you can see right around the rim of it. You can see the comings and goings.
There is actually a video. There is actually a video out there. It's on YouTube, and I realize everybody's eye rolling that, oh yeah, of course, YouTube is not real. Actually, John Greenwald from theblackvault.com, he actually had a team look at this video, and it shows about 24 or 25 black specks flying in front of the full moon.
Yep.
And the way they have been able to break down the video, they have proven that it is not birds, and they don't know what these anomalous objects are, whether they're UFOs, whether they're some sort of far-reaching plane that has their lights out, because they were just black specks. They weren't anything else, but they were all going across the full moon. And it was a weird tape. And to John, he stated publicly that if it is UFOs, it's one of the best UFO videos that we've seen.
Well, the fact they can't identify it makes it a UFO. But the fact it's up at the moon does kind of take it outside of terrestrial building.
Yeah, I think so. I totally think so. I would agree with that. Let's go back to Dawn for a second here. Fertile question from her. She is asking, what races deal with pregnancies?
The Greys are the primary. Because the Greys are the ones that are literally, they're the ones that designed the hybridization program. And they oversee the whole 9 yards as far as all pregnancies go. Or more to the point, all interracial pregnancies.
Right. We can squeeze in one more as we've got about a minute left here before we got to prep for the news. Susan is asking, can the visitors fix things in your body?
Yes.
I believe you've had that happen, have you not?
Will they? I've heard of some people that have had it done. In my case, it did repair my left arm. Or my right arm, rather. But that's considering we've only got 15 seconds, let me put it this way. It was built wrong. It was broken when I was a kid because of another race, and the consortium put it back together.
Well, that's nice of them. Very nice of them. Keith, we got to start to wrap this up with you tonight before we get to the SOR Newswire with Olaf Phillips. Do me a favor, let everybody know where they can get a hold of you and find your YouTube videos.
Well, you can find my YouTube videos at R. Keith Andrews. And on each of the videos at the bottom, you'll find a list of other ways to reach me. And, of course, the easiest, obviously, I'm pretty certain Dave will pass on a message if you get a hold of him. Or just write to Inner Voice Enterprises at yahoo.ca. Those are the easiest ways to find me.
We appreciate it, my friend. We really do. It was so good to have you back on the radio after your little bit of health concern there. But, Keith, we will talk to you on Friday, March 1st. Thank you so much for being on Spaced Out Radio with the ET Connection. Our Keith Andrews, my friends. Olaf Phillips. We are teasing him with the SOR Newswire next.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real. On at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Welcome back. As we've rounded third, we are heading for home on Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. And at this time of the night, we finish things off with the weird, the wacky, the WTF, and the SOR Newswire with Mr. Olaf Phillips. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show. You can go to our website, click on the news tab for Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, read away as much as you can. It's always up to date and daily. And to bring us the news tonight, Mr. Olaf Phillips from Paranoia Magazine at paranoiamagazine.com. Olaf.
Greetings and salutations.
Good to have you with us on this Friday night. No sneaking out to the Tiki Lounge tonight?
No sneaking out to the Tiki Lounge tonight.
Well, that's all right. That's okay. Just turn the page, as Motley Crue sang. But nonetheless, you got us some weird, wacky, and strange news. But before we get to that, you ever been abducted?
Not that I'm aware of.
Do you think you have?
I'm aware of. I don't know. I don't have memories of it. I mean, I had 2 weird dreams when I was a kid.
I don't know if that qualifies, man.
Yeah, I mean, they were very vivid, but no. I mean, in the dreams, it would seem that I might have been, but I have no evidence that they were anything more than dreams.
I hear you.
Of a child. But no, not that I'm aware of. Although I do want to get hypnotized one of these days to see if I was, just out of curiosity.
Well,
hello?
You know what? Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
I'm like, you're not talking. I'm like, hello.
No. You know what? No, it was one of those. It was one of those things. I was debating. Do I go into one of my experiences or not? Hey, what's the dog's name? Who's barking there?
That's Terry.
You have a dog named Terry?
Teriyaki, yeah.
Oh, nice.
The little paranoia's named her.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Well, I have to do it. We're having like torrential rain, so I have to do it inside tonight. So the dog's here.
Well, you know what? Let's get to the news, my friend. The weird, the wacky. What do you got for us to finish off the week?
I didn't get abducted, so now I'm not interested.
No. We're bored now. We're bored, but you do have a good beard and you do wear plaid, so you're technically half Canadian, right there.
Yes, I'm wearing my Carhartt plaid shirt, my Carhartt shorts, and I was wearing my Carhartt shoes earlier. You know, people don't know this, but Carhartt, yes, you should sponsor me, Carhartt. Carhartt makes amazing shoes. They really do. I mean, they stand up to a lot of abuse. I'm just saying, good shoes.
I'm a Skechers guy. Love the Skechers.
I can't wear them. My feet are too wide. Like they just don't fit right.
Yeah, I got really bad feet, man. Really bad feet, and the Skechers just help my walking so much better. But anyways, enough about my.
All right.
All right, let's get to it. The news.
Did Florida man dig an underground tunnel to attempt to rob a bank?
Probably.
Robbing a bank may look easy. Robbing a bank may look easy on the big screen, but in IRL, not so much. Trying to be hip with it. And for the adventures of Florida man, definitely not. On Wednesday, an unknown person may have attempted a movie-style bank robbery in Pembroke Pines. The FBI is investigating a tunnel leading toward the Chase Bank that was found by Public Works crew. A winch, a wagon, a small generator were discovered inside a 50-yard tunnel, according to NBC6. We don't know who is behind this at this time. They could have done this a week ago, last night. We don't know at this time, but it is an extensive hole, FBI Special Agent Michael Leverock said to reporters. Police sent a cadaver dog into the hole to search for people, but no one was found. The tunnel may have collapsed due to heavy rain, so it's safe to say whoever occupied the tunnel did not make a grand getaway with sacks of cash. Authorities are calling the incident an attempted robbery, according to FBI Special Agent Michael Leverock. NBC6 reporter Dan Grossman tweeted live from the scene, workers continue to dig next to the Chase Bank on South Flamingo Road and Pines Boulevard, where an underground tunnel was found. FBI has yet to give details, but we've seen muddy boots, a generator, a stool, and a rake pulled from the tunnel. So yes, Florida man attempted to dig a tunnel under a street. It rained a lot. It's Florida. It collapsed and created a sinkhole.
Wow. That could have been a lot of trouble for that dude, man. A lot of trouble.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Now this one will be near and dear to your heart because of a particular obsession you have. Are you ready?
Hold on, now I have to think of my obsession.
Oh.
Hot sauce?
Well, let me cut to it. KFC, your favorite, unveils limited release Cheetos sandwich. Chicken chain KFC is testing out a new sandwich that's making viral waves online due to its unusual ingredient, Cheetos. KFC Cheeto sandwich being rolled out for testing in select locations in Virginia, Georgia, the Carolinas, and other southern states, featuring an extra crispy chicken fillet, a layer of crunchy Cheetos, and a special Cheetos sauce. In the $4.79 sandwich, I don't know what that is in Canadian. It's probably like $4.85.
No, dude, that's like $6. That's like $6 up here.
Man. Is it?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Well, that's a lot of money.
What is it? 25 cents on the dollar?
No, I have no idea. But companies said the sandwiches could become available nationwide if there is enough interest. The response to the unusual sandwich online has been mixed. Some social media users blasted it for being unhealthy, while others lamented that the release is limited. Blasting KFC for being unhealthy. Go figure.
Wow. Should never insult KFC like that. That's just rude.
It is. It's rude.
I'll tell you, their spicy chicken burger is good. Their spicy chicken burger. I'm craving one. I'm craving one of those. Son of a gun, that would be good. You had to put that in my thought process after pounding back about a dozen hot wings today. Yeah, blame Bazooka Joe for that.
Yeah. Now I got one last one.
All right, let's do it.
This is a good one. You ready? I had to end high.
All right, let's do it.
Stretch,
I'm ready now.
This isn't Florida Man. This is not Florida Man. But give it a stretch. Get yourself ready. Get yourself all Florida ready. Put on your Tommy Bahama shirt. Put on some Jimmy Buffett.
Oh, I don't do
Get your
Jimmy
beer.
Buffett,
Put in
man.
a little. Put your beer in a little cooler cup. Maybe get the hat. You know, the helmet with the two beer holders. Put on your flamingo shorts.
I'm ready.
Florida
I am
girl.
ready.
Florida girl, 14, makes like a Florida man. Needing a ride to her boyfriend's house, a Florida girl yesterday ordered pizzas to a neighbor's house and then popped out of some nearby bushes and stole the car from the delivery man. But Yeah, it was a Papa John's. As detailed in a police report, Josie Bigelow, 14, placed a phony phone order early Wednesday to lure the victim to a street near her home in Lehigh Acres, the Fort Myers suburbs. As the driver walked to the front door of a residence with pizza in hand, Bigelow emerged from nearby woods, hopped into the 49-year-old delivery man's unlocked 2006 Ford Taurus. Bigelow was subsequently arrested about 6 miles from the high scene, where investigators said she sought to ditch the Hot Wheels in a stranger's driveway. Before being collared, the girl twice escaped from pursuing sheriff's deputies. The teenager was arrested at 3:15 a.m. for grand theft auto and booked in a local juvenile detention center, from which she was released after a few hours in custody. In an interview with a local TV station, Bigelow's father said the juvenile needs an ass whipping, that in jail. Joseph Bigelow told the police that his daughter has fallen in love with the bad crowd, and mentioned her bad behavior, how bad her behavior has been recently. So a Florida girl lured a Papa John's pizza delivery man with a fake order, stole his car, and attempted to drive it to see her boyfriend.
Smart move. Bad idea. Was she delivering pizza to the boyfriend's house, though?
Well, there would have been pizza in it, so I guess he got pizza. And her dad, his classy comment is, she needs an ass whipping in jail.
Well, pretty much.
Probably
pretty
true,
much.
But, you know.
Very true. That's a good time to get.
Real classy.
That's a good time to get to the thought of the Dave.
Stay classy, Florida.
We got actually quite a few tonight, Olaf. It was a busy one today on the Thought of the Dave, as the Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question earlier in the day on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air. So today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. If you had a UFO sighting or ET contact, where would you report it and why? Good question. Solid question. Let's go here.
Great
question. Start on Twitter. Going to start on Twitter. Craig Jacobs, former guest on this show, he says, "Don't laugh, Dave, but at this point, if I had another sighting, I'd report it to you first." Joe, you, Dave. Who else can I trust? Oh, God, this is a lot of pressure now. A lot of pressure.
You know what? I would, too. You can't send it to MUFON. They'll sell it to the DOD. You're probably about it.
Goodness, what am I going to do?
You need to start spaced out radio sightings database.
All right, we got Dave Fun going on now, apparently.
Dave Fun,
Michelle.
What's the...
Yeah, we're going to have to get some Spaced Out Radio shirts with Dave Fun on them. But I don't want to rip off Giordano's Goof On, because that's an awesome name for Giordano UFO Network. I love that name. Goddess Michelle, I would write it down and tell poor Dave. Goof On, exactly.
Doof On.
Yeah, Doof On. I wonder if you'll let me steal that.
The big Canadian flag across it.
Michelle, I would write it down and tell poor Dave, then take observations about my body and document that also. There is no safe organization to report it to. Oscar, I'd tell Dave for sure, but I would get in touch with R. Keith Andrews to find out who and why. I can't win here. Graham, only you, Dave, and R. Keith Andrews. I hope he is healing well, though, Dave, my friend. All right. Well, pretty much a lot of Dave-isms there. Let's get over to Facebook.
I'm sending it to Dufon.
All right. William Pullen, former guest, he goes, "Great question. I will think on it, but the reporting of a sighting to MUFON is just out of the question." D. Ray Johnson, Secure Team 10. Tyler is the man. Okay, if you like fake UFOs, I guess you're good. Kelly, the government, because they help with everything and they never lie.
Nope. And they have it anyway. They bought it from MUFON.
Exactly. Well, there is one MUFON. That comes from Tom. Mike over at Revolution Radio, the man known as Nighthawk, says, Border Patrol the skies for illegal aliens. That is all. Gail, I would not report it to anyone. Existing reporting agencies are a waste of time and space. Government does not care, and the UFO community is a huge disappointment on too many levels. Some things you just need to keep to yourself. Jeff, I probably consult someone I trust that is knowledgeable and respected in the field. For example, R. Keith Andrews, Elizabeth April, or Jason Quitt. Yeah, what about Dave Fawn? Dave Fawn. I like Dave Fawn.
Dave Fawn.
Let's go to Dave Spinks, former guest on this show. A very specific small group of friends. You cannot trust the government or any of the mainstream reporting sites. Chris, down in Washington State, says, Eric Cooper's Forest Moon Paranormal. I know he would know what to do. Karen, well, my friend and I told no one, yet others had to have seen it. Had to, wasn't late. We lived on top of Maruba Beach. Sorry, the writing's a little messy here. I apologize, Karen. And it came in, stopped. It was large, and it had to be seen. I've never seen in my life anything move so fast. This was in the mid-'70s. Not one other mention of this personally, I feel, had reported it and gag orders issued. Jennifer, I'd send it to John Tenney, for sure. Joe's Maine, I would report it to Spaced Out Radio in the Spreaker chat room. That's where I report all of my sightings and photographs. David, Canadian UFO Reports.com. Why? Because I know Chris Rutkowski tirelessly compiles a yearly report with no-nonsense knowledge. When someone on Prince Edward Island reports a sighting to me, I can check it out, chat with the person, and encourage them to report it to Rutkowski. Keith, Reverend Keith, former guest. Dave Scott, Everett Thiemer, Butch Witkowski. In that order, my first words would be, no kidding. There I was. Well, that's always good. October, probably just the paranormal community, honestly, to see if similarities were there and if it helps to hear you are not alone or crazy. Grant's calling Butch Witkowski. Lee in Washington State. He's giving Peter Davenport a call at the National UFO Reporting Center. Peter's pretty good. Been doing it a long time. Tanya, just a small group of friends and mostly my paranormal buddies, and I have seen UFOs, but I lived my life knowing Indrid Cold, and nobody knew until I wrote my book. Natasha, on my own podcast. Beyond that, I would report it to John Greenwald or the National UFO Reporting Center, Peter Davenport, of course. I would not, I repeat, not call MUFON. Barrett, Dr. Sky, because he is honest and awesome. I don't know who Dr. Sky is. Sarah, I don't report it. I have seen many over the years. They make good stories, though. Catherine, I tried one time to report something I saw and I ran into obstacles. Now I feel reserved and don't think I would say much. I might add it's my own study of things I might experience, but I think anyone else's opinion is purely conjecture to your own, and it doesn't hold much weight in this topic. Maybe if there was some sort of commission or larger scale study, we would be able to have open discourses without ridicule or persecution and speculation on all sides. Jennifer, I would call Dave Scott. Jade, I would talk to you first, Dave, because of your integrity and knowledge. You know the best next step to take and the right people to contact. It would have to be some wild and crazy sighting for me to tell anyone, though. Diana, I wouldn't tell anybody. Gil, well, he's contacting Dave Fawn. So is Kevin and Tracy. My goodness, that's a lot of trust. That's a lot of faith. Coral, if I had a sighting, I would report it to Peter Davenport. Oh, my goodness. There's everybody. Everybody. Penman's contacting Peter Davenport. Let's see. We're going to end this. We got one more here. We're going to end it on Sharon's note. Sharon in Arkansas. I would report it to Dave Scott. Duh. He's the only investigative journalist I trust. Dave and his gnomes would get the truth and inform the masses. Always about the gnomes. Thank you, Sharon in Arkansas. Olaf, do me a favor. Tell us where we can find Paranoia Magazine.
ParanoiaMagazine.com, Paranoia Magazine on Facebook, Paranoia Mags on Twitter or on Instagram, The Paranoid Traveler on YouTube. It's the awesomeness everywhere.
Beautiful.
Go Dave Fawn. Go Dave Fawn. I'm in.
Gonna have to get shirts on that made up. Also, you can find all of our news at spacedoutradio.com. Click on the news tab. Captain Shirk's news is all right there. She is our news editorial newsie right there. Big thanks to our Keith Andrews putting on the big boy pants and coming on in for the ET Connection. He'll be back on March 1st. This weekend, Tessa Nicole Thomas is in with Spaced Out Weekend starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to all of you listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. And, of course, we want to thank each and every one of you in the chat rooms and on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. Thanks for making us bigger, better every single night. We got another Power Week coming on up. But don't forget the weekend, because together, my friends, we own the night. I will talk to you on Monday. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Good night.